Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a start of something new. So excited. It is a great moment to talk about all things Tottenham Hotspur. The transfer window is closed. Daniel Levy has left the club. Was he sacked? Was he pushed out? Did he step down voluntarily? Who knows? A lot of things are coming out about that situation. But really what this video is all about is just discussing the transfer window and really just the summer as a whole, the first two games of the season. A lot of stuff to talk about. Really exciting time to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan. What a great club. It is the beginning of a new era, an era without Daniel Levy. Man, it's a little scary because my first instinct whenever I think about him as our chairman was, we are struggling. We can't get any signings over the line. We saw what happened with Morgan against White, Eze, and what it felt like the planning or lack thereof this entire transfer window, missing out on targets, every person that we were linked with just either rejecting us or signing a new contract with their club. It was not a fun time in the very beginning of really towards the last week of the transfer window. There's a lot of stuff. So Daniel Levy exiting the club, and plus all the history of missing out on players and him being so hard to deal with in regards to transfers, other clubs, him not being good on footballing side of things, but then him on the other hand being really good financially and bringing in revenue and all these different things. A lot of up and down and split parties when it comes to Daniel Levy being liked or not. And now that he's gone, is the grass greener on the other side? I guess we'll find out. We really won't find out until a couple years down the line, or maybe even as soon as this January window. My personal thoughts on it is I think it will be beneficial for the club just because of his experience. He got us this far and thankful for his service, but going forward with how much money's in the Premier League now, just penny pinching and all these things that he'd like to do, I don't see that being a good thing for Tottenham Hotspur in the long run. Plus all the history that he has with the club and messing up and how the fans just dislike him, the protests, this, that, and the other. I think overall it's a good thing that he has departed from the club. What I would like to see in January, and this is something I've been vouching for ever since we began getting linked with him, with Savinho. Man, do I want that player. I think he is a top player. He's young. I know he had a kind of a weird season last season with Man City, but I think coming to Tottenham would be a perfect place for him. Thomas Frank, get him just firing, and yeah, I feel like that'd be a great spot for him to develop. But there's a lot of stuff going on with that. People higher up don't want Savinho to go. At least that's what we heard in the summer. Apparently that we're going to go back in for him in January. So we'll see with that situation, especially if he starts getting minutes with Manchester City. So let's review this summer for Tottenham Hotspur. Let's look at the signings first of all. First one, Mohamed Kudus. Man, what a player he's been. I think he, alongside Xavi Simons, will be the signing of the season for Tottenham Hotspur. I think he is wonderful, great work ethic. There's parts of his game that I still think are really raw and can get refined. And I think Thomas Frank he already loves him a lot, but I think he's going to really love him as he starts to develop. I think he's a great player. Watching him against Mali today with the Ghanaian national team, he's just so fun to watch. He doesn't lose the ball, even if it's bouncing around and looking hectic. He just somehow maintains the ball. What a great signing we have in Mohamed Kudus. I think he's going to take us to the next level. A signing that may not take us to the next level because we haven't really seen a lot of him. He's been injured. Is Kota Takai, the Japanese young central defender. I think he's a signing for the future. Obviously, we have great center backs in Cuti Romero and Mickey Van de Ven, Kevin Danso, Ben Davies, all those players. Even Ben Davies, even as old he is and as, he's definitely on the decline of his career. I think I would put him over Kota Takai. Of course, there's experience and all that stuff, but I think there's just a lot of stuff we don't know about him. So jury is kind of out with him. I don't know, with Luka Vuskovic going out on loan and Kota Takai staying, I don't know what to really expect. I'm not sure what, I didn't watch the J League, so I'm not sure what he's got in store. So I'm looking forward to see what he can become, but a little skeptical. Now, João Palhinha, I think that guy is exactly what we needed this summer. We were dying for a proper number 6 under Ange Postecoglou, and getting one finally under Frank is going to be massive for the club. For games like we saw against the 2-0 win at the Etihad against Man City, that was such a massive win for us, and João Paulinho was at the center of that. So very, very good signing. I rate that signing a 9 out of 10. Only reason why he wouldn't be a 10 is because he's kind of old, but we'll see with future transfer windows, especially with Daniel Levy being out of the club. We'll see what kind of how we replenish that as João Paulinho kind of gets old. And then Starboy, freaking signing of the summer for us, Xavi Simons. This guy, ever since he was a kid at La Masia, I think he is class. I think he's going to be such a great fit. He reminds me of Luka Modric, or that Phil Foden kind of archetype kind of player in Xavi Simons. I think he's young. He's only 22. He's got such a high ceiling. I think that he could just really flourish at this club, in this league. It's going to be really, really good to see him really link up with guys like Kudus, and even the guy that I'm about to mention right after this, who we got on deadline day, and just provide service for guys like Solanke and playing those running his. I got really in this rabbit hole of watching just the compilations of Xavi Simons, and he loves the outside the boot Travella pass, and I feel like there's going to be so many of those to Richarlison, to Brennan Johnson. It's going to be fun to watch Xavi Simons. Next up, Kolo Muani. I think this guy, I haven't watched a lot about him. The only knowledge I have of Kolo Muani is the same as everybody else. He missed that big chance in the World Cup final, and he didn't really make it at PSG. With Juve, I've seen a couple of videos about him. He had a really good, I love his first touch. I love his link-up play. I think he's going to be great in that aspect. He brings yet another profile in our striker number 9 department, which I think is going to be really helpful with, Solanke being injured and then Richarlison being injury prone. I think he's going to be a really good person to slot in there. Personally, I would continue to start Richarlison over Kolo Muani for now. Play Kolo Muani coming off that left side where Brennan would play, or where Xavi would play, just because we don't have that kind of Savinho profile coming in to replace Son. So I feel like he's still going to get minutes, but I wouldn't start him at the number 9 just yet. But I'm sure he's going to get plenty of opportunities to play in the number 9. That was our summer transfer window. Now, we're missing a few things. Me personally, I would love to have seen a proper left wing replacement for Son Heung-min. Shout out the GOAT, man. Just what a player he was. And I feel like we're going to have a Son-shaped hole going forward. I'm really hoping that Xavi Simons, Kolo Muani can kind of tag team that left-hand side. And they're really kind of because they're not proper wingers, obviously. We didn't sign a proper winger, and that's what I'm asking for in the likes of Savinho. I don't think Lookman is the guy. He doesn't fill me with any kind of hope or excitement. I hope we kind of drop that. But if we get him, I wouldn't be too upset. But I really do think we will have a Son-sized hole going forward. Anyways, with that transfer window, I feel like we could get a really good ending to the season. I'm saying 5th, maybe push for 4th if City drop lower than what people were expecting originally, because especially after the first game of the season, they just smashed it out of the park. I believe it was against Wolves. 4-0, I think. Reinders looked crazy. Turkey looked crazy. But since the match against us and then their match against Brighton, they've been okay, this City might not be the scary Pep Guardiola revolutionary side that they once were. Maybe we could kind of get up. So if we could get 4th, that would be insane. No promises. I'm not expecting a single thing. I think the 5th to 7th place is kind of our ceiling this season, or at least until January, to see what kind of things happen and who gets injuries, who doesn't. So that's that. As for trophies wise, with this summer transfer window in mind, man, I would love another trophy. That's for sure. But I think with the Champions League draw that we got, I feel like there's a good chance that we could get, a fairly, positive and favorable run in the Champions League. But I do think we will exit fairly, maybe quarterfinal is probably our ceiling in that regard. But I would love to see kind of us go far in the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, maybe even win one of those. That would be spectacular. Now, there's a few things that I really want to address with Thomas Frank, which I rate Thomas Frank very highly. I think he is the answer after Ange. But the only thing was that Bournemouth performance was scary because not only did we not look like a threat towards goal, but we were being played off the park. Like it was not like there wasn't a 15-minute spell where Tottenham were in the in the driver's seat, making chances, putting shots on goal. Like we didn't have that till like the last 5 minutes of the match when Bergvall came. Well, he came on earlier, but whatever. And so that kind of stuff makes me nervous because Bournemouth games, though that is a great squad, and Andoni Iraola, he has them drilled so well, and Bournemouth are no mugs by any means. But I just think we need to be winning the games against Bournemouth, and the games against Fulham, and the games against Brighton, and those kind of games were considered level on a level playing field with those kind of teams. Like we need to be coming out on top. So there's a lot of kind of gray area in this conversation, but I think that's my only fear is Frank is used to being the underdog, but when he's on a level playing field with teams, will he be able to take us over the line? And hopefully with players like Xavi Simons, players like Kolo Muani, even Kudus could take us over the line and drag us over the line in moments like that. Coutinho Romero, World Cup winner. Like guys like that can really take hold, be leaders, and take the game by the scruff of the neck and get us over the line in those type of games. So really looking forward to see what Frank's going to do. That's my only fear. Like I have in my notes right here, I said fears for Frank. Like I don't even know. Like that's the only one that I have with Thomas Frank. But final thoughts overall on the summer that Tottenham Hotspur have. I would probably give this overall transfer window and managerial appointment, and all things considered, an 8 out of 10, only because it's so close to being a 10 out of 10 window because of the magnitude and the level of player that we're signing. They're all players that increase the squad automatically, but I do think the way we went about it, the stuff that we missed out on, Morgan Gibbs White, those kind of guys, and which I do think we got the best one out of the three. If you put Xavi Simons in that lot, I do think we got Xavi Simons the better one out of the three. I do subscribe to that camp, but I just think the way we went about it, it felt so reactionary. It didn't feel like we had a plan. It didn't feel like we had any kind of method to our madness. And so I'm glad that we ended up with who we got out of it, but the way it happened scared me. My next kind of final thought is injuries. If we get one injury, say in the wingback department, that scares me. If Jed Spence gets injured, we don't have a backup for a true backup to Porro or Udogi. Guys like Van de Ven, Richarlison, guys like Solanke, and even Coutinho Romero, those kind of guys who are injury prone in our squad, if they get an injury, what's going to happen with that? So stuff like that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. But other than that, I feel very, very positive about this window, and I'm super excited to see what Thomas Frank really does with this squad and how he makes it his own. And I love the idea of us as the fan not knowing who's he going to put out in the starting lineup, or what kind of tactic are we going to play against this team. It's going to be really nice. We need to back Frank, the ownership, whoever's going to be stepping in, Daniel Levy's spot, or if Vinay Venkatesham is in that role, or Peter Sheringham, whoever it is, I hope they back Frank. I hope they give him the tools that he needs to succeed, because I think he is going to lead us in a great way. Let me know your thoughts on Tottenham's transfer window. What rating would you give it out of 10? I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, come on, you Spurs. God bless you.